think I explained the reason for that. When that came up, we decided, since it was a little bit unusual that the Venezuelan speaker was not going to be a Venezuelan, we would keep it a secret to the last moment. And we did that. Everyone wondered who's going to be the speaker, and they tried and tried and tried, and they didn't do it. No one talked. Maybe because I didn't tell the people on the committee that I couldn't do it. Anyway, the mic?
Read out my issue, dude.
Hello there.
Yeah.
This is your friendly waiter bringing you the latest. Well, no, forget that.
Sounds like Lombardo.
I was going to say, it's a radio program.
That's interesting. People say I can sound like something completely different. Okay, that's great. Anyway, it came time for me to give the speech, and I did go through a bunch of nonsense about knowing the speaker and what a great fellow he was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I did tell them that I was a speaker chosen at the last minute because the regular speaker couldn't show up. And so this is what I read. Okay, yes, this is it. It said, unfortunately, I did not come to the reunion with a biographical sketch of myself and have been too busy today to prepare one. So I asked some of my friends attending the reunions and who have known me for a long time to help out by preparing one for me. I gave them my brother's name, right there he is, and phone number and the names of friends from primary, secondary, and university days. And their phone numbers as a place to go for source material. They knew my career in Venezuela with Creole, which they tried to forget and make this this presentation. Okay, here it goes. It was a dark and stormy night. Just a minute. This sounds as if this was taken from Peanuts comic strip, showing Snoopy sitting on the top of a doghouse trying out to make an entry for the Boulevard Litany contest for bad writing. Anyway, let me continue. Turn. It was a dark and stormy night in a lonely log cabin on the plains of Kansas that Virgil first saw the light of day. It was strange his being born in a log cabin because there wasn't a tree within miles of his birthplace. Virgil was the last of 7 children in the Haney family, proving without a doubt that his parents knew when to give up. With such a large family, behavior in the household was a problem. So his parents developed a scheme of awards for good behavior. Young Virgil would have none of this, because he said it just wasn't right for him to accept payment for good behavior, something that should be accepted. No doubt that was the reason later in life his parents would refer to him as their good-for-nothing son. His primary school years were in the rural education system of Kansas. And in the rural areas, the children were expected to do chores before going to school. When asked about this, Virgil said, yes, indeed, I had chores to do before going to school. Every morning before going to school, I got up, I slopped the cows, and milked the pigs. No wonder he didn't become a farmer. Virgil excelled in that rural education system, finishing as #1 in his class for 5 years running. This was possible to a large degree because he's the only one in his class. His 6th year, he finished second. Somewhat of a surprise because he was still the only one in his class. At the time he was in his senior year in high school, he was voted the one most likely to. And was graduated with honors, Bill honors, from a neighboring farm. But his university education was interrupted by serving in the U.S. Coast Guard. When he returned to university, he majored primarily in his freshman year. After a time and the lack of academic oversight, he was given his degree in chemical engineering in 1954. The rest of his class earned their degree. His was given to him. Some of the faculty expressed surprise that his degree was in chemical engineering, believing it should have been in comical engineering, because his classwork was to laugh. At the time of his graduation, Creole was hiring engineers and Virgil was interviewed, offered a job which he accepted. There is no truth to the rumor that those reporters were fired. When an employee enters a corporation, the usual path is to begin with field assignments, then move on to a division job, then to headquarters. In this case, it was totally different. He was hired to work in Caracas, then transferred to Maracaibo, and this was even before he set foot in Venezuela. The supervisor there apparently recognized the trend, immediately transferred him to Lagunillas, where he reported for work. Incidentally, that's where I met Edna. Evidently not realizing at that moment that both the time was even further away, they overcame that oversight and transferred him there. None of this bothered Mr. Haney. He took to work like a duck to water and enjoyed each and every month. So much so that it was 2 years before he found out that he also got paid for working for Creole. Yes, he wasn't like many of his fellow workers. See the other page. But that was just not right. Good heavens. This was another issue. Anyway, where in the world am I? Okay. It was a dark and summer home. This is not the end of it. Anyway, he had many of his friends, people, complain bitterly about their pay. They wanted more money. They insisted on more money. But Virgil did not do that because he did not in any way want to get paid what he was worth. The sketch did go on in a certain degree that involved mostly things that only people in Creole and Venezuela would understand. But after that, I did deliver the speech, which was accepted as one of the best speeches they'd never listened to.
Somebody keep it on?